Welcome. It's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Whether you consider yourself a bridezilla or groomzilla or not, if you want a wedding, you're probably already having a pretty good idea of how you want it to go. And with all the planning that goes into a wedding, it makes sense why a tearful meltdown can be caused by even the smallest change in plans. When British bride Liz Ravenhall was preparing for her big day, she had no idea how much would go off the rails of her carefully planned ceremony. As she put the finishing touches on her makeup and slipped on her heels, she was unable to know what was going on in the church. When Liz, who worked as a dance teacher, was engaged with her fiancé Ollie, they knew that their wedding would have to be something special, and it certainly will be theirs. It's just not the way she expected. The ceremony went smoothly at first. Light orchestral music began to play. The groom and bridesmaids walked down the aisle. When Liz came in her beautiful wedding dress, she gave an enthusiastic thumbs up to the crowd. The pair eventually met at the altar and turned toward the cop, ready to become both husband and wife. All eyes should have been on the bride and groom at this point of the ceremony, but everybody was looking elsewhere, and it wasn't on the ring bearers. A photographer suddenly showed up to the right side of the aisle. We've all heard horror stories about wedding photographers getting in the way and disrupting the service, so the guests seemed puzzled at first and a little worried. When another photographer appeared on the left side of the aisle, however, it was obvious that something was happening. 2 cameras were not required, particularly when they were not even pointing to the altar. The cameras were actually pointing toward the back of the church. Whispers from suspicious family members took over the ceremony, but with a shh, they rapidly died down. After all, the bride had no idea this was happening. Yeah, the service, as far as she understood, went on as happily as it had started. The bride faced the altar all the while, utterly unaware of the quiet commotion in the crowd. But her husband, Ollie, noticed the upheaval, but did not let Liz on. Around now, everyone glanced up at the balcony, not at the bride and groom. Nobody knew what was going to happen, but Ollie did. See, Ollie had created a plan to shock Liz with the surprise of a lifetime. In an effort to make their special day even more memorable, he knew that he had to show her how much she meant to him. And upon him came the moment of truth. Touching Liz's arm gently, Ollie turned her about. Confused, the excited look on Ollie's face was all she had to go through. She followed up the balcony with his gaze and burst into tears. Suddenly, a crowd of kids standing on the balcony began singing, filling the church with lovely music. The shocked bride wiped away her tears when the children performing Christina Perri's 1,000 Years. But the moment had been far from over. With disbelief, Liz turned to Ollie, smiling and dabbing a tissue at her eyes. He looked back at her and was obviously satisfied with her reaction. The song evidently meant a lot to her, as she and the kids mouthed the words. "I've loved you for 1,000 years. The song goes, I'm going to love you for 1,000 more. It makes sense why those words have teared the bride. When the kids started singing, friends and family audiences started crying too. Seeing someone they cared about receiving from her soon-to-be husband such a warming gift was just too much love to handle.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.